Hello and welcome to the second part of my little video series about SEO and how to rank your content in Google search. So if you haven't watched the first video, I'd suggest you do so because it's about some of the SEO basics, and yeah, without those it will be hard to rank on Google. Now you also remember at the end of the first video I said I would now go about writing my article about Bangkok photography and yeah, give it some time to rank on Google, and it actually took nearly 4 weeks until it showed up in Google search. And now I want to show you what I did to rank this article in the top 10 of Google. Let's first have a quick look at what I did here. I called it in the end Bangkok Photography Locations Guide because I just also wanted to sneak in the locations keyword, and also down here right in the heading, in the bold heading, I also have photo spots. Not only Bangkok photography, but also kind of Bangkok photography locations or photo spots are keyword combinations I like to have this article rank for. And then what I often do for longer articles, because this one is quite long, I have a table of contents at the top, which also allows me to put in a few more keyword variations. So a little different usually to the headlines I have, and that's the first thing that's important. Structure your content if you want to rank. This also helps you to get better search results. Sometimes they are a little more detailed and have a list beneath with some of your headlines, and it also helps Google to better understand the content of your article. And those headlines is also where you can put in keywords, because they will be valued a bit higher than just the keywords and text. At least that's what I think. So it's never 100% sure how the Google algorithm works, but yeah, that's how I do it. So here, that's the H1 headline, the major headline with a title, then usually a table of contents where people can directly jump to different parts of the article. And then I start with the H2 headlines. And important thing is, try to write good content. First-hand experience, I was in Bangkok for like 7 days, so I know the city and I write about it, about what I learned, why it's great for photography. I put in photos. For me, the first photo is also always the feature image, so that's why this has to be a good one. This is the one that will show up in the Google search results. If you use WordPress and some plugins, you can also set different images as feature image, but for me it's always the first one. And yeah, make sure that this is an eye-catching image. Then yeah, how to get into the city. First, some generic stuff which I find helpful, which was information I wanted when I was researching Bangkok, so I put it in here. Also, it's not directly centering on the keywords I want to rank for, which is the Bangkok photography part, but yeah, also getting around. But down here we now start. Skyline photography is something I know I did. Then taking night photos in Chinatown. This is an area I explored a lot. So we already have 2 major points of focus here. But what I also learned while looking at the articles in the top 10, so when I did the research, I learned that although the keyword I put in was Bangkok photography, which is still a bit generic, so it doesn't really tell me a lot about the intent other than most likely it's a photographer searching for Bangkok. And the idea is now you need, when you look at the search results, try to figure out what is the intent that Google attributes to those searches. So people that use the search term, what do they want to learn? And if you look at the top 10, you saw that most of those were about Bangkok photo spots, so talking about photography locations. It seems like Google thinks that somebody searching for Bangkok photography wants to know about photo spots in Bangkok. So that's kind of the intent of those people. And that's also something you need to take into account when you write your article. If you want to appear in those top 10, you also need to serve this intent, which is why I also have a section best photo spots. I didn't visit all those, but what I did in the beginning before visiting Bangkok, I did a research about photo spots, and this ties in nicely with my article because it's also still first-hand knowledge. So I just share the result of that research, and by that I also make this article more about photo spots, and not just about the few areas I visited, but about areas that are interesting that I wanted to visit, maybe didn't have the time to. So I now also serve this search intent of finding photo spots in Bangkok. And then I have a conclusion. So you see the article, I think it's more than 1,000 words, 1,500. So it's not just quickly written, also contains some research. So I have links, helpful links, which I found during my research. And that's the good thing. I write those articles based on my personal experience, and the content contained is also research content, because when I went to Bangkok, I did research. I needed to find out how to get into the city, where to stay, all that stuff. So it's not like I have a ton of work to do the research for this article. I already did the research, and that's the nice thing about those travel articles. Travel photography is something around which I built a lot of content on my homepage. It's something I like to write about, and yeah, that's kind of my content strategy, aside from tutorials about Photoshop and photography. And it's also not too much work for me. So you always have to weigh it a bit, how much work you need to put in. And especially if you want to rank in the top 10, there is quite some work. It's not just a short article you quickly write, but I think it's worth it. Okay, so now you've seen the article I've written. You can also check it out. I'll leave a link in the description. But how does it now rank? And you remember in SEObility, we put on the ranking tracker for Bangkok photography. So let's check this out. And I've already added here to the detailed information for the URL. And you see here the title, Bangkok Photography Guide, and the search, Bangkok Photography for the US. I'm at position 9 currently, which is kind of what I wanted. I wanted to get into the top 10, so it's not in the upper part, which is maybe something I can try by improving the article, and also now by getting backlinks. So this would be the next thing. If you really want to climb up the ladder within the top 10, maybe try to get some backlinks. That's another topic, but at least here is the proof. I achieved the ranking in the top 10. Now, how do I go about it? It's not just researching the intent and checking keywords and then writing a well-researched article. I also need to get the basics right, and for this there are tools. For example, the SEObility keyword check. So that's keyword Bangkok photography. I put in the website. So once I've written the article, I basically analyze it, and with a free account you can do 5 checks per day. And what it will tell you, some very basic stuff. So is your keyword contained in the headers? Is the density of the text good? So basically, how often does the keyword appear? You actually see it's nearly 2,000 words article, so not a short one. It also tells you if you use the keyword too much in the headings, all that stuff. So this I consider low-hanging fruits. Achieving all this here doesn't make you rank. Those times are over, I think, because Google has a much more sophisticated algorithm now and kind of tries to figure out how helpful an article is. But I still think those are very basic things you can still do. It's just something I tick off my list, make sure I get this part right. And if you're using WordPress, there are other tools like Yoast SEO, I think, which also give you some list like this. So I typically get this one out of the way. Another thing I also do is I check the page speed index. I also already talked about this in the beginning of this video. And as you see here for mobile, this article gets a speed of 100, every score nearly 100. And that's what I said. If you have a well-optimized page, this is easy to achieve. And it's also important if you are reaching the top 10 and then want to compete there. Just make sure that you have a fast, well-structured homepage. If you find that some of those values are off for your article, just double check. Maybe you have some bugs in the code and fix it, or maybe your images are too big, and then you can use different strategies to improve those scores. Now I also want to see how it looks in the actual search results. So what I usually do is I have Surfshark, which is a VPN. So I'm located in Germany, and what I want to see is search results for somebody in the US or in some other countries, because actually my homepage has most of its traffic from the US. So what I do, I use a server in the US. Then I get an incognito browser of Firefox or Chrome. So let's create an incognito window. And that's important because if you use your normal browser, then Google will know your search behavior and serve you results for you. But what you want to start with a clean slate. So let's go to google.com. And now it's basically as if I was in the US and was using Google. So let's search. Let's use Bangkok photography and see how the search results look. So those are familiar. I saw those during my research, but down here you already see That's the photo, the featured photo in my article. Let's scroll down a bit. So people also ask, this could also give you some hints about keywords you could use. And let's scroll down a bit. You have some nice rich results, which would be something I could try to achieve with my article, but I found it's pretty random how Google chooses if they display it like this or just a little photo next to the search. But anyways, here's my article. So it's actually appearing like it's much farther than the top 10 because of all that stuff in between. So especially those big chunks here, the businesses and whatever. So a goal for me would be not to just rank in the top 10. I really need to get this further up here, because top 10 nowadays doesn't mean much sometimes if you have so many chunks of other content above. But still, here's my article. And also when we go to the images search, you also see my article popping up pretty soon up here, Bangkok Photography Locations Guide. Let's also try actually Bangkok Photography Locations, how I rank there. So go to all, see if I appear here. Yeah, actually pretty good, but you usually search like this. At least that's how I do. Either photo locations, so see, are also pretty good. But I think most people use photo spots. And for Bangkok photo spots, I don't seem to rank anywhere near the top 10. So this is something I could tackle. What I would first do, I would do some research and see how photo spots compares to photo locations in terms of search volume, and see if the effort is worth it. And then I might maybe change the title a bit to make sure that photo spots is used more often, and see if I can rank more for this. But yeah, that's now fine-tuning the content. First, it's important to get it out, have it rank on Google, and as I already said, also try to create some backlinks. So maybe write a post, a guest post somewhere. Also do the low-hanging fruits, which I say your Facebook account, Flickr, or whatever you use, YouTube for me. Create links to the article. Those will not be very valuable, but it's low-hanging fruits. The valuable backlinks come from sites like, for example, for me, it's Fstoppers, where I write articles, and I'll write an article about this video also, which will then contain a backlink to the article this video is about. So for me, that's a natural thing to do, but you might find other opportunities to create some backlinks for your content. Okay, so we're now at the end of the second video about SEO and how to rank on Google. I want to give a final remark, and it's about, if you remember in the first video I showed you how you can do keyword research using various tools and how those give you kind of an estimate of the volume you can expect. And yeah, what I want to tell you is don't let yourself get discouraged too much from those values if they're quite low. Always think about, in the end, you'll get volume or impressions not only from this single search term. There are many similar search terms living around this one. So think of a search term bubble which is close or around Bangkok photography, which others use, and you'll also get some volume from those. So the complete volume your article gets is a combination of many similar search terms and maybe some search terms which you didn't even think about, which have nothing to do with your initial search term. And you find out about those if you then, after your article is online for a few weeks, look at Search Console again and basically analyze the traffic your article gets, where it comes from, and you might also find some keyword opportunities there. You see, oh, this keyword here get a lot of impressions, but maybe the click-through rate is very low because you're just ranking at place 20 or 30. So this would then be an opportunity where you could say, okay, I optimize my article a bit toward that keyword so it ranks better and I get more clicks from this keyword, which you now know firsthand that it shows up quite often in Google. So that's the final tip I want to give you. So use Search Console after your articles are online and analyze, and then get the opportunities from there. Okay, that's it for the article. So hope you liked it. If so, leave a thumbs up. Also, if you know about SEO or you have questions, leave a comment so we can do a bit of a knowledge exchange. So I'm also still on my learning journey, and yeah, see you on the next video. Bye.